Thanks for being part of this. What exactly the program is going to cover? It's going to cover writing skills. It's going to cover lead generation skills. It's going to cover your code outreaches skills. Here's what this program is going to emphasize. It's going to emphasize you building your personal brand across social media network, so that of course it's easier for employers to identify you. It doesn't matter if you are currently employed or not. You can work towards where you want to be, not where you are right now. So content writing, lead generation, and code outreaches within the sphere of your space of primary competence, right? So this program is going to help you to reach out to those hiring managers to see what exactly they're trying to hire for and the skills that are required and how even they gauge those skills. We are a recruitment and headhunting platform, right? So to help businesses get talent faster and reconnect employers to talents. We're not just a job board, as you've seen. We help with the matchmaking. We hear the frustrations from the talent end. We hear the frustrations from the hiring manager end. So we're always trying to bridge. That's what we're trying to do now. This particular content writing piece should not be your first foray into writing. Since we have a lot of people who have never attempted to write, I'm going to share a few resources that you should look up. Previously, it was like there was no marketing without writing, but now there is no professional at all without writing. You write every day on everything. A lot of people were cut off, or rather were rejected from this program because we had a form that asks some questions, pushing you to talk a bit more about why you want to be there, and people couldn't write. You see, first whether I want to be there to grow myself, full stop. Like, what? I'm giving you an opportunity to express yourself, and that's the best you could do. It was a lot of worry when we realized that some people got hold of the link to join the group without passing through the process, because that means that there's some people who are not as high value or in the group. It doesn't matter whether you're in it or not. Now is an opportunity to upskill yourself. Writing is a non-negotiable skill. Everything you were doing revolves around writing. We're going to be pushing into LinkedIn, that's writing. You're talking on social media, that's writing. You're sending an email, that's writing. You're reaching out on the DM, that's writing. You're communicating what you can do over the comment section on XDeputy, that's writing. You're putting a cover letter to your potential hiring manager, that's writing. Everything is writing. So that's why I'm a bit worried when I ask, has anybody have any writing experience? And nobody said, like, it's just two people that have had some writing experience. I would say, if you don't have writing on lockdown, everything else here is going to be very, very hard for you. Very hard for you. I'm going to share some tools on writing specifically, and if you're interested, we can talk about a writing coaching program. But you cannot escape writing, and you cannot chat GPT your way around writing. No, you cannot do that. This is another mistake we see happening, where people just give ChatGPT a prompt, ChatGPT generates it, and then just copy and paste. And it's usually super obvious. If you can't write, you can't write. You can't give good prompts. You can't modify prompts to what you want. And what ends up coming up is something that looks fake. So you have to learn how to write. GPT is not here to take that away from you. GPT is here to complement you. So we'll talk about, I'll put a poll for who's interested in the writing class, but I don't think there's going to be any writing class that's not going to be paid. So if you're not ready to drop any money, just forget about it, because if we go talk to a writing coach, they're going to ask for some funds. So on your own, try to follow the links out here on writing. Now we can go ahead. This course is not to teach you how to write. You're going to have to learn to write on your own. This is teaching you, or this is highlighting writing for sales and outreaches, which is what Deman Generation is about. Right. Specifically, people don't just buy products, right? They buy trusts, they buy perspective, they buy you as a person, right? There are some things that I'll do, like I know that, like, when I ask people, when most people see that I'm behind it, they're gonna say, yeah, I would try to be part of this, or I would try to join on this, because they know you, they've heard you, they've seen you, and they believe you, right? If you're trying to sell and people don't trust you, it's gonna be a lot harder. So writing just helps bridges that gap, right? For salespeople, before people listen to you, they have to notice you. Before people can trust you, they have to make sure, they need to believe that you're a person that understands them, right? So content makes people listen to you. Over the past 3 to 4 weeks, I've booked meetings with like a bunch of people have no idea where on earth I am or who I am, but from the very first cold message, they're like, actually, wait, this, let me listen to this person, and I'll share some screenshot, like maybe not for like proprietary reasons, but writing is the difference between somebody classifying you as one Indian guy that just wants to waste the time, or another Nigerian prince, or looking at a message and saying, you know what, maybe I should listen to this person out. And as you can tell, this is a skill that will be helpful, whether or not you're reaching out to somebody who could mentor you, you're reaching out to somebody who could employ you, you're writing a cover letter, you're writing a proposal, whatever it is. You want to have this on lockdown. So let's start from the first section, which is like making cold outreaches. What makes a cold outreach work? Really, the first thing is relevance. It's not okay to just write without having a very clear sense of who you're talking to. There is no writing in the world that is relevant for everybody. There is no writing that's relevant for everybody every time. Actually, I'll talk about the Bible because I'm a Christian. Love your neighbor as yourself it seems like something that you can plug into any situation. But if a person is hungry, coming to give him a sermon of love your neighbor as yourself might end you slap. That's the truth. It's a great part of scripture. It might end you a slap from a person who actually believes in God. Because at that time, it's not relevant to him. I mean, it is, but it's not the most relevant thing to him. So you need to figure out what the relevance is for what you're writing. Who are you talking to? Why is it relevant to them? And an easy way to do that is to picture the specific person or group of persons you're talking to and see how this thing that you're writing now, how is it going to be helpful to them? How is it going to be relevant to them? A quick test for this. For me to go through, because there are going to be multiple tests we're going to be doing. Let's do a quick proof of life. However, just unmute your mics and just say hi. It doesn't matter what order. Just want to make sure that let's see how many people are actually alive on this call.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Awesome. Thank you. I didn't hear from a few people. Everything from here, I'm going to be asking a few questions. We've sent quite a number of newsletters. Have there been any newsletter that was sent that I felt like when talking to you that was just like written for you, or it felt like yes, it was to you, it was really relevant? Brian.
Okay. Personally, I joined this from a referral, so it's more like the first time of me being in here, and I'm trying to learn everything. So that's why I've been quiet all through.
Oh, that's fine. I'm Chia Gozi.
Good morning.
Morning. Have you gotten any of my newsletters?
This is my first time of America.
Is there anybody who's gotten my newsletters? What is going on? There's a reason why we didn't publish this opportunity. This opportunity never quite showed up on the website. Like, if you scroll through the list, you would never have seen it. It was shown only on the community because I wanted to just let our people first, maybe from subsequent ones as well. Adedeji, is there any newsletter that you've read and be like, okay, yeah, this made sense to me?
Yes, right from the beginning. Even the art that I saw, that I joined the link. Like every newsletter that I've been reading about, that I've been coming across, was, let me say, 70 to 80% was actually directed to me. Like, you can start anytime. You can dive into new profession. Don't say because you are stick to one. That was the second ad that was in the newsletter. She called it. I came across it then. See on this thing, the link posted inside the group, and I clicked on it, and I saw it. I was like, wow, let's give it a try. Like, so I've come across like 3 or 4 of it that was just directly telling you, go there, it's for you. Yes, this is not the first half.
Amazing. So Gloria and Jesse are doing amazing jobs then. That's what it means. But yes, amazing. Thanks for sharing that. Aaron, wanted to add something before I go ahead?
Oh, yeah. About the newsletter, I still remember one in particular about identifying scam jobs. That I think from Innocence from XDeputy. Yeah, I tend to read them because they're actually very informative. Very scam one because me myself have noticed a bit of those patterns, especially in LinkedIn jobs. So getting them validated was very helpful. Just felt like someone was writing specifically for me.
Thank you so much. Thanks to DG. Thanks to Aaron for adding that. And by the way, you guys can. First, I get some responses from those newsletters. Jesse gets some responses too, because I write some, Jesse writes some, and it's heartwarming to read, and they're very encouraging. So feel free to respond to them. It just helps us know what is relevant, because we're always aiming for relevance, right? But that is just like portraying what I've been saying. Most times before we write, we think clearly about who we're writing to, who's reading this, how relevant is this to them? How would this help? When you write on LinkedIn or on social media, you have to have that picture in your mind, like who you're talking to. And don't try to say everything to everybody. You end up saying nothing. And just be very clear, like who you want to talk to, and talk to them, right? That's why everybody can write. So long as you can talk to people, you can write. That's it. All right, so that's the first one. The second one is clarity, and we're going to go into a bit more detail later on. Clarity implies like how easy it is to just digest what you've written. All right, this is where a lot of people struggle, and it's fine to struggle with clarity. This is the place I expect you to use GPT or Grammarly or something else too, right? And the problem is that from the very first time people start writing, they jump to GPT and say, hey, write me blah, 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 blah. What ends up happening is GPT writes, but you are not there. It's just GPT that's there. GPT can help you achieve clarity in what you've written. And so the way we do that is just to go to GPT and type out everything you want to write. Right? I'm like, hey, GPT, you've heard my voice, you've heard my tone. Help me arrange these things in a way that is clear. GPT is an amazing tool for that. It would help you, right? So the tone help you set it the experience as a writer. So GPT should be coming in later, not at the beginning. Just FYI. And then the third thing is curiosity. Have you read a writing that was hard to get you to state one, to keep reading, like after the first 2 paragraphs? That's usually because the person just kept talking. And the way you do this is, I will talk about fluff later on in this reading, but after writing, feel free to delete like a ton of things you've written, especially if you're not clear how their relevance are. It's okay to have like one sentence in 1 paragraph. It's okay. Right? You just need to give enough information. We don't have a lot of time. And the framework, especially for cold messages, is like hook, value, CTA. This is very important. And I give an example here. Hey, so you're hiring for 3 roles. Here's how I could help. Now, imagine you're creating a club and you're looking for 3 people to do something for you. Is everybody here on board with that imagination? Yes. Put yourself in those shoes right now. Remember, you're still trying to create your club, right? Aaron is a software club. Paige is a teaching club. Whatever it is. Right? Out of the blues, you get this message. Hey, so you're looking for 3 people. Here's how I could help. Would you click on this? I'm going to ask somebody if not asked before. Lena, can you hear us?
Hi, good day. Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I said, if you had gotten that messaging, what would be your response? Somebody reaches out to you. What's your primary field?
I'm a service delivery analyst, and I also work as a digital project manager.
Wonderful. Okay, so yes, you're assigned a new project, right? And you're meant to fill 4 important roles, all right? You fill one where you're looking for people, and out of the blues, you get an email that's headline is, so you're hiring for 3 roles, here's how I could help. How curious would you be on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'd say an 8 because
An 8.
the fact that the person actually I use the word audacity, but the person actually had the confidence to say, oh, like, yeah, I see, like, the person has done their research to see that you're hiring for 3 roles, not just 1 role. And then the person actually went ahead to say, okay, here's how I could help. I'll actually take it as something, I'll be inquisitive and just say, okay, let me actually see what the person has to offer.
Amazing.
I mean, I think it's a bold, because it's not everyone that actually has the confidence to do that.
Yep. Thanks so much, Lena. And that's you touched on like a very important part. It's a 2-liner, right? But you notice embedded here seems to be a few minutes or hours of research. Would you agree? Yep. And it's almost obvious that this person did his homework. And this right here is the problem with cold messaging. People give out one template to everybody. And there's nothing people hate more than getting the message that they feel like did not concern them or is not for them. There is nothing people hate more. Be as small as, in fact, I've learned that you might finish your research, you need to get on the head, and just the name doesn't match the person's name. That's it, they tune out. So what that means is that you cannot gimmick this. Your hook needs to be based off research. You need to go check people out. If there's a company you're reaching out to reach out to, you have to go look them up, right? If there's somebody you have to reach out to, you have to go look them up, see something of need, see something of value, see how you could create a generate value, and then lead with that. You can't gimmick your way out of that if you send a code message. Thanks for sharing that, Lena. That was really helpful. The second one is what gives credence to what Lena said. Now, there's a lot of audacity that has been embedded into the message, right? Clicking on your message is the first step. It doesn't matter what you wrote. If nobody clicks on it, it's dead. But that's only the first step. People are curious, at the same time, they're very cynical. So what that means is that they're not looking to celebrate you, they're looking to find out, give them reason why they should delete your message and block you. That's what they're looking for. And somebody hits them up with audacity. They're like, okay, who are you? Why do you feel like you can help me? Right? Especially as you go higher up. I would know because I reach out to other CEOs. LinkedIn. I would know. That means you have to quickly demonstrate authority. When you first see the message, there's a question: why does this person feel like he can help me? Now look at the follow-up message. Oh, I'm with XDeputy. We reach 30,000 job seekers daily and have 1,000 pre-screened candidates, which is true, by the way. We do every single day. We're currently helping over 40 startups hire great talent, less time and costs. Also true. Now, Lena, sorry, I'm going to go back to you because you had there's the audacity question in your head. When you read the follow-up question, does it make you relax and be like, okay, maybe this person is actually in position to help?
Well, it does kind of, actually. It does.
Right, it does. Thank you. Now, remember again, the person doesn't yet know whether you can help them. The person just sees that, okay, this person might be able to help. Let's just hear them out. This is where people then start making the third mistake, which is preaching about, oh, we do this, we do service delivery, we do SEO, we do like this. You start listing out a bunch of things that the chances that they're going to be relevant is very, very small. In reality, what you should be doing is looking to learn, because there is no one size fits all anything. There is none. In reality, you should treat everybody you reach out to as an opportunity to learn. And when the person is going to read the second chapter, the second verse, which is, oh, we hardly have to hire. The third step is where their cynicism is highest. Now they're like, okay, now I know that this person is from an organization that's credible. They'll probably like check you out, executive.com, see stuff, say, okay, yes, this people are valid, this people are seeing. All right, they do have people, oh, they do have jobs, oh, they do have, okay, can they help me? And then they go to the third one, I'm like, oh, might you be open to chat about the kind of people you're looking for? And I'm able to help find them in ways that won't cost you anything. Oh, okay. At that point, they don't have any cynical bullet to shoot you with. It's one of two things. It's either this thing is very valuable for them and they are open to help explaining with you, or it's not as valuable and they don't. Either ways, you're fine. This is a very short message that the worst it will earn you is no response. The second worst is someone will say, oh, thank you, I'm not interested at this time, can you check in later? And then the third is like, yeah, you know what, this sounds interesting to me. What are you thinking about? What you're likely never gonna get with this message is, please don't ever send me messages again. Or if you try this again, I will block you. Or somebody screenshotting you and going on Twitter and saying, look at the people of this world. Which is where you don't want to end up with your code message, which is a lot of people's fears with code messaging, and that's what I've heard. All right, so tips: be semi-formal, use formal instance names. Don't forget about your formal jargon. We are well positioned as the global frontier for formal education in West Africa. People will just close its streets. You're not even serious. Just be you. Be useful. Don't be needy. All right? If you look at it, it's like, hey, if you're open to it, I'm open to it. But then it's clear that with or without you, we are big. If you decide to, that's fine. If you don't decide, that's fine. I'm useful to you, potentially. I don't need you to stay alive. I'm going to pause here because this is actually pretty huge. Is there any question anybody has at this point?
Hello.
Yeah, what you think?
Yeah. You said so much, and yeah, you made it quite clear and straightforward as to how one can get better with this person idea. But this last thing you said struck me really hard, probably because someone that has been code dealing for quite a while myself, I kind of relate with what you said last. You said, be valuable, not needy. Now, as an individual that probably all you have is just yourself and your portfolio. Now, you are speaking from the place of the CEO of a brand. Now, your brand has accomplishments, your organization has accomplishments you can boast off when you are code dealing to raise the expectations or to let whoever you're writing to expect much from you and know that, okay, there's value to be got here if I sit back and connect with this person. So now, as an individual, that all you just have to do yourself, portfolio, and probably past projects, and some maybe they can even be seen obviously. How do you come across as, I don't know if the question is sounding dumb.
The question is very valid. Yes, the question is very valid. Like, if you don't have a large brand behind you, how do you break barriers, right? And that's a very huge one. So there are two questions, the two answers I'm going to give here. First is for the people in this room, for people who are going to be part of the XDeputy Internship program. That is one benefit you're going to have. Right? It's just that you're going to be able to leverage this kind of opening. So you're going to be able to leverage the brand. You wouldn't have that problem, right? Because when you steal that and make the connection, you can then use it to learn the things you want to personally learn, right? But for outside this fair, if you don't have a brand, you need to figure out which place you have authority. What part do you have authority? As an individual, I'm going to use, Jide, what do you do?
I'm a digital marketer.
A digital marketer, good. How long have you been a digital marketer?
For about 3 years now.
About 3 years, good. Are there people you've worked with?
Yes.
Any of them noticeable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
In your case, next time I'm a marketer who's worked with X number of companies, including A, noticeable celebrities, B, noticeable celebrities, C, noticeable celebrity, D, noticeable celebrity. And if it's not a noticeable celebrity, A company, B company, and if it's not a company that strikes name, talk about results, including helping Z company achieve Y goals. We're looking there to do their stamp authority. Why are you the person that should be sending this message? That's the question they're trying to answer. Does that help?
Yes, so that makes sense. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question? I am guessing none. All right. So it takes us to LinkedIn now. As I mentioned, throughout the course of this, you're going to be writing a lot. See it as we forcing you to write. I'm putting it this way because there are people who are inundated with the fear of how people see me, how like there's a lot of self-doubt that like prevents them from actually putting themselves out there. And so that's why I'm like, if you can't find the strength within yourself, find the strength from us. Let us force you to actually write. However, if there are some reasons that would make you not be able to write, I'm talking of like you are hiding from the FBI and they can catch you in LinkedIn, that kind of thing. Please let us know. Just hit up Christopher and say, hey, Chrissy, actually, I'm hiding out in Nigeria. I'm supposed to be in Gaza right now, but the Israelis might catch me. If I post on LinkedIn, they will catch me. That's why I'm here. That's why I cannot write. Right? Please tell Chris why you can write. If not, you're going to have to write. The good thing is that we'll be here to support you. Let's look at the relevance section. So the relevance, remember, is the first bullet point. What you should think about before you start writing. What exactly you're writing on? For the purpose of this, there are going to be 4 pillars that you're going to be able to write on. You can write some insights, right? The things you've done from your field. And I'll give an example that will be relevant to people. I did hire an example because that's just our field. You can feel free to do your part, So for the purpose of the DGI, we need to tie it to people in a way, we need to tie it to teams. Because your outreach is going to be around people and teams, and this, so again, still within your brand, still within your personal brand, so there's no conflict. The second is stories, right? Stories resonate with people. Notice we tell it a lot, we should too. The second is opinions, and then the fourth, this is one I'm like super excited about, is you talking about like how like you're learning to be. This is a general framework. We touched on it earlier. It's the content sandwich with a hook, a detail, and then show your conclusion. Right? If you go back and read your newsletters, you'll probably see this framework at work. And then the third section is around the personal brand. I will share this. Writing to be your personal brand. Now, this is where people have issues with personal branding. With personal branding, you have to be known for one thing. It's okay to do multiple things. You have to figure out the way to tie it back to that one thing. Right? I would know, because I got to a point where the personal brand was super confusing to me, and it kind of made me step away from the public light. For context, like I once led a community of over 30,000 people, and it was pretty well known within the engineering space. Now, but creating a company, there's all the things that are associated with being a founder and all the spaces I had to play in. It became confusing exactly what foot to put forward. And I haven't even fully answered the question now, so I do understand when I say clarity is a problem. But regardless of how difficult your own personal situation is, it has to be clear what you want to be known for. You can do 10 things, figure out the one that excites you the most, and try to tie everything else to it. Right? The second is consistency. You need to be regular about it, and that's what we're going to make sure we do here. And the third is credibility. You want to share like real experiences. And then the fourth is connections. Like the people that are greedy with social media, you want to post and disappear. Social media is a place where you invest. I mean, you have to invest in other people's posts. You have to leave comments. You have to leave responses, and then it then triggers reciprocity. They want things to do the same to yours. Everybody you see who is an influencer, per se, is a person that took time to do that. Just kept doing that until they grew. So once I'm ready to do that, again, train some content ideas. I'm sure within XDeputy. Train some tips for non-writers. I already spoke about it. Avoid big words, really. Optimize talent acquisition. No, we never say that. We help startups hire better people. That's what we do. Trade examples. It's not enough to say hiring is hard. You have to say, sorry, the founder told me it took 2 months to fill a role, and the person quit after 3 weeks. Now, this is the danger of stories. People make up stories on social media. That is terrible, because you could get away with it all the time until one time somebody calls you out on it. There was a story that was posted 2 to 3 days ago. I can't remember. I think I shared it on the group too, of the lady that's the guy who the hiring manager, I think was Bison, who spoke about how he sent people to his clients and they ordered food worth 146,000. I think we talked about it on the group and had a good laugh. We did. But people came out to say, dude, you're telling lies. That's a lie. Now imagine that it was actually a lie. Because at some point, the people calling him a liar became more than the people who were reacting to the news. And luckily for him, he was very credible. And the client was somebody that was on social media too, and was well known. And the client came out and told his own story. And it resonated a lot with what Bison has said. So that upped Bison's credibility a lot. You can get away with fake stories once or twice, but one day somebody's going to dig in, and it takes only one day to undo all the credibility you thought you built. So don't lie. Take time. Everybody has experiences. Dig into yours. You'll find the right story. The third thing is, yes, this is where I mentioned fluff. Fluff is everything in your sentence that you feel like helps you feel good, but something is saying has already been highlighted by something else. If I say write fast, and then I say write fast, be as quick as you can with your pen. This sounds good, right? Write fast, be as quick as you can with your pen. The problem is that this sentence and this sentence are adding the same thing to this conversation, making one of them redundant. That makes it fluff. So even if it sounds great, I'm gonna have to delete it. So hopefully that clarified that point. And then when you're done, always try to read out loud what you've written to see how it flows, because that's how the reader is gonna perceive it. All right. And then when you're done, of course, use ChatGPT, train ideas. I said, see what's said, train ChatGPT for feedback and editing ideas, not to generate what you're doing in the first place, which is what a lot of people do, which is why it's just terrible. Right? GPT itself is a good tool. I love it, of course. But just make sure you shine through regardless of how you use it. And so I tried a bunch of things to practice, a timetable that you could use, and then showing that, yes, as an intern, your content is your superpower. Please. At the end of this, there's a quiz here that you need to take. It just tells how much you actually have gotten from it. Most of the quizzes are easy. You just test engagement more than knowledge. It's not one for people to take like a CGPA or something. It's just to make sure that we're on the same page overall. This is going to contain everything that you need to do for content for the week. There are individual activities here, and can't go right now because there's no time. And there is group activities here. That's, if you haven't guessed, today we Chris and Steven would group you into groups of maximum 6. Should be more than 6 people in the group. 5 to 6. Groups of 5 to 6 really. And when that happens, we try to figure out at least one person who's going to lead a group. And every group is going to rotate group leads every week. And group leads are going to write about the experience. Remember, it's only being able to portray yourself, so that, we can tell that this person does, yes, this skill, they exhibited it in X, Y, Z place. The group activity is things that make you come together to talk about stuff, right? It has relevant scenarios, so that's useful. And then there are outreach campaigns that's you can take as a group, and the local new LinkedIn takeover, which is where different groups come together. Different people in the group come together to coordinate on posts, almost like an engagement community. All right, so that way you know that people are going to have your back as you write on LinkedIn or as you shine. This has been really long, and I need to ask. I am sharing this ASAP. I will share it on this call. I will also share it on the community. But this is where I'll pause and just take questions. Any questions from anybody? Let me speak to somebody that I haven't spoken to yet. Jacob, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good morning.
Yeah, good
morning.
Good afternoon. Yes. What was it for you? Is everything clear? Are there some parts that are fuzzy?
Yeah, I think it's quite clear. Though before now, I had a little knowledge on content writing, but I think with your little explanation and then probably the specifics you gave out, I think it just shed more light on the knowledge I have, and I think it's more like an advance on what I have at hand, and so something to work on also. I'll say it's quite clear.
Amazing. Glad it was helpful. Thank you. And you do have some experience with content writing, but I was calling for people who had experience earlier. You may have missed that.
Yeah, I was having a network issue then. Like I could barely hear you at some point. So I was just trying to grasp what you were actually saying at the start of the whole thing. along the line, the network became stable.
Okay, awesome. Glad this is recorded, so hopefully we can go back to it. Yeah.
That's cool then.
Okay, awesome. So we just have 1 minute. We need to leave here by 12:30 exactly. But we are still on the group. As I said, Chris is going to create the section different groups. I have no idea what the criteria is. This is between him and Steven. So please push them on the group and make sure these are the people so that you can hold them accountable. Because this is I believe like everyone on this call has different goals. So see your goal as your own goal and make sure you can achieve it. And that's great. So Chris and Steven would be doing the grouping, and then you can go through the document I shared and raise questions if you have any. There's one last part, which is the project management of this entire thing. We're going to be leveraging the tool, Drogo. It's also a tool that allow each person to kind of set a focus. Say, here's what I'm trying to get done today. This is why I asked if you have at least 3 hours every day. I already just said, here's what I'm trying to get done today. Now, each of these lectures are going to go have activities. Those activities don't have a specific time. When you do them, you can do them at your own time. So any day you can create your own focus list of what you need to do in a way that suits you. Remember again, if there are a few things that we're going to talk about that you're not super comfortable with, like, I'm a very quiet person, I don't really like posting on LinkedIn, see this as we pushing you to, except you're hiding from the FBI, I'm saying again, or you have some cogent reason. People do have some valuable work reasons, I don't know, for doing this. If you're working, if you're currently employed, you don't need to, for example, you're doing this internship, which by the way, there's nothing wrong. It's an adjacent, it's an adjacent field where you're gaining some of the skills. But if you're not comfortable doing that, you can make your post without making it obvious you're in. So just feel free to mix and tweak it how you're comfortable with. Jesse and Glory are there to support you as you try to come up with something. Tomorrow is going to be a sync. It's only Mondays we're going to have something like this. It takes a lot of time, and it's just going to be less than an hour. Have an amazing week, everyone.